Hello everyone, my name is Momita Biswas. I was born in West Bengal and brought up in Uttar Pradesh. I have completed my graduation and post-graduation in zoology from West Bengal State University in the year 2020 and 2022 respectively. I have keen interest in mentoring and guiding students and have been doing so for last 1 year. I also like to interact with students and have a meaningful and thoughtful conversation with them. My today's topic of discussion is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are doing well. So students, we all have seen beautiful flowers around us. But do you know what is the significance of these flowers? These flowers are actually responsible for the reproduction of plants. So today we will learn that how these flowers helps in the reproduction of plants. Now before starting the topic, we need to understand what is reproduction. So reproduction is basically a biological process through which an organism produces more organisms of its same kind. In case of human beings, we can consider reproduction as the formation of babies, but in case of plants, the formation of seed is considered as reproduction. Do you know students where these seeds are formed? The seeds are actually formed inside the flower, and that is why we consider flower as the reproductive part of the plant. Now, if we look at the structure of a flower, the flower mainly consists of 4 parts. The first is the sepal, which is a tiny leaf-like structure present at the base of the flower. These sepals are responsible for the protection of flower when it is in the condition of a bud. The collection of sepal is also known as calyx. The next part is the petals, which are modified leaves and are generally bright in color. They generally attract the insects and animals towards it, but its primary function is to protect the reproductive parts of the flower. The collection of petal is also known as corolla. The female part of the flower is known as pistil or carpel, and the collection of pistil is termed as gynoecium. The male reproductive part of the flower is known as stamen, and the collection of stamen is termed as androecium. Now if we look at the structure of a pistil or carpel, it consists of mainly 3 parts. The first is the uppermost bulb-like structure, which is known as stigma. The second is the long tubular structure, which is known as style. And the third is the solen basal part of the pistil, which is known as ovary. Inside this ovary, many special cells are formed. These cells are known as ovules. Inside the ovules, the female gamete is present, and these ovules are actually haploid cells. Now, if we look at the structure of the stamen mainly consists of a long stalk, which is known as filament, and at the tip of the filament a bilobe structure is present, which is known as anther. Inside this anther, a special type of cells are also formed, which are known as pollen grains. Inside the pollen grains, the male gamete is present, and these pollen grains are also haploid cells. Do you know students, for the formation of seed, the male gamete and the female gamete has to get fused, and for this fusion, the pollen grains from the anther has to get transferred to the stigma. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma is termed as pollination, and the pollination can be done by many agents. These agents can be wind, water, animals, insects, etc. When the pollen grain reaches at the stigma of the pistil, it forms a new structure. The name of the new structure is pollen tube. This tube runs down the style and reaches in the ovary, and in the ovary it makes a connection with the ovule. Now through this pollen tube, the male gamete travels and reaches to the ovule, and in the ovule the male gamete and the female gamete get fused. The fusion of male gamete and female gamete is termed as fertilization, and this fertilization results in a diploid cell structure, which is known as zygote. This zygote is also a unicellular stage. After mitosis, the zygote gets converted into embryo, and embryo undergoes modification and forms the seed. During the conversion of zygote into the seed, certain changes also takes place in the external parts of the flower, that is the petals, sepals and the androecium all get shed off. Only the ovary remains, and the ovary get converted into fruit, and that is the reason we find the seeds inside the fruit. Thank you. I hope you like my video.